You're standing still right now. At least, that is what it feels like. But here is the truth: you are not standing still. You never have been. Right now, at this exact moment, you are hurtling through space at a speed so ridiculous it should terrify you. The ground beneath your feet is spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour. The planet is also orbiting the sun at about 67,000 miles per hour, and the entire solar system is moving through the galaxy at nearly 500,000 miles per hour. You feel none of it. Your coffee is still. The trees outside are still. Everything feels calm and normal and boring. And that is exactly what makes this so dangerous, because the only reason none of that speed kills you is because everything around you is moving at the same rate. You, the air, the oceans, the buildings, all of it, perfectly synchronized. A planet-sized machine that has been running so smoothly for 4.5 billion years that we forgot it was running at all. So what happens when the machine stops? Not slows down. Not gradually winds down over millions of years the way scientists predict it actually will. We are talking about a full stop. Instant? Complete. The Earth just ceases to spin. What happens in the next 60 seconds would be the most violent event in human history. And most people have absolutely no idea. Let us start with you. Personally, the moment the Earth stops, you do not stop with it. This is the part that people get wrong when they first think about this. They imagine the planet freezing and everyone just standing there looking confused. That is not what happens. What happens is physics specifically. Something called inertia. An object in motion stays in motion unless something stops it. That is not a suggestion. That is a law. The Earth stopping does not stop you. You are already moving east at over 1,000 miles per hour. The ground just decided it no longer wants to keep up. So you fly eastward instantly at over 1,000 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, the fastest commercial airplane ever built, the Concorde, flew at about 1,300 miles per hour. You would be launched off the surface of this planet at nearly that speed with zero warning, zero preparation, and zero protection. Every person, every animal, every car, every tree, every building that was not anchored deep enough into bedrock, all of it, flung east. The Great Wall of China gone. The Eiffel Tower gone. Every skyscraper on Earth twisted from its foundation and hurled across the landscape like toys off a shelf during an earthquake. Except no earthquake in human history has ever come close to this. The Richter scale stops being useful. We do not have a number big enough. Now let us talk about the oceans, because this is where it gets truly apocalyptic. The world's oceans contain about 336 million cubic miles of water. Every drop of that water was also spinning with the Earth at 1,000 miles per hour. And when the Earth stops, every drop of that water keeps going. The technical term for what happens next is a mega tsunami. But that word honestly does not do it justice. Normal tsunamis, the ones that have killed hundreds of thousands of people throughout history, those are triggered by underwater earthquakes that displace relatively small amounts of water. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history, involved waves that reached up to 100 feet in some places. What we are describing here is not a wave. It is the ocean itself, relocating. The water near the equator, where the spin is fastest, would surge eastward with such momentum that it would climb over coastlines, swallow islands whole, and push hundreds of miles inland. Major coastal cities: New York, Lagos, Mumbai, Tokyo, Sydney, Shanghai would not be flooded. They would be erased. Not damaged. Erased. Under hundreds of feet of water moving at near hurricane speed. The continents that survive would be unrecognizable. New shorelines, new inland seas, entire regions of land that were once interior suddenly sitting at the bottom of a new ocean. And here is something that almost nobody talks about: the water near the poles would behave differently. Because the Earth spins slowest near the poles, the water there would not fly off with the same violence. Instead, it would rush toward the equator to fill the space left behind by the equatorial surge. You would essentially get a global sloshing event. The oceans would bounce back and forth across the continents for years. For years. Now look up, because the atmosphere has the same problem. The air you're breathing right now is also spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. The atmosphere is not attached to the ground the way the ground is attached to the mantle. It is a fluid. A thin, fragile layer of gas wrapped loosely around a rock. When the rock stops, the air does not get the memo. What follows is the most powerful wind event in the history of this planet. Not a hurricane. Hurricanes spin at 200 miles per hour on a bad day. What we are talking about is a global hypercane, a wall of air moving at supersonic speeds, raking across every surface on Earth. Nothing built by human hands survives a sustained wind of 1,000 miles per hour. Nothing in nature survives it either. Forests, stripped bare, topsoil, ripped from the ground and hurled into the upper atmosphere, blocking out the sun and plunging the planet into darkness. The pressure waves alone would shatter glass, rupture lungs, and collapse underground structures. You know those apocalypse movies where the characters hide underground to survive? Underground would not save you here. The pressure differential between the surface winds and the air pockets below ground would cause catastrophic structural failures. Any tunnel, bunker, or cave shallow enough to reach would be compromised within minutes. The atmosphere would eventually settle. But eventually means decades. The transition period, the grinding, howling, suffocating decades between a spinning Earth and a still one would be unlike anything biology has ever been tested against. But here is the part that really keeps scientists up at night. And it has nothing to do with the wind. It has to do with an invisible shield you have never thought about. Right now, deep in the Earth's outer core, liquid iron is churning, moving, circulating through convection currents that have been cycling for billions of years. This movement generates an electric current. That current generates a magnetic field. And that magnetic field wraps around the entire planet like a bubble, extending thousands of miles into space. You cannot see it. You cannot feel it. But without it, you would be dead within years. The sun, as beautiful and life-giving as it is also a constant source of high-energy radiation and something called the solar wind, a stream of charged particles blasting outward from the sun at around 1 million miles per hour. Right now, Earth's magnetic field deflects almost all of it. The particles slam into the outer edge of the field and get redirected away from the surface, creating the auroras you see at the poles as a side effect. When the Earth stops spinning, that convection in the outer core slows. The magnetic field weakens. The shield starts failing. It does not happen immediately. The magnetic field has its own momentum and would probably persist in some weakened form for thousands of years after the Earth stopped spinning. But slowly, inevitably, it fades, and when it does, the full power of the sun hits the surface unfiltered. The ultraviolet radiation alone would make the surface lethal for most organisms. Unprotected skin, irreparable DNA damage within minutes. But the solar wind does something even more insidious. Over the long term, it strips away the atmosphere itself. We know this happens. We have a neighbor that proves it. Mars. Mars once had a magnetic field. Scientists believe it once had liquid water on its surface. It may have even had a breathable atmosphere billions of years ago. Then its core cooled. Its magnetic field collapsed. The solar wind went to work. Today, Mars has an atmosphere 1% as thick as Earth's. Its surface is a frozen, irradiated desert where nothing survives. Without spin, without a magnetic field, Earth becomes Mars. Not overnight, not in your lifetime or your grandchildren's lifetime, but on the geological timeline, a cosmic eye blink. Within a few million years, the atmosphere gets stripped. The water gets split by radiation and the hydrogen escapes into space. The oceans evaporate. The surface sterilizes. Everything that ever lived on this planet. Gone. Replaced by a silent red desert orbiting the sun. Indifferent and dead. Exactly like our neighbor 48 million miles away. But let us pull back from the apocalypse for a moment. Because there is another version of this story. A slower one. And it raises some genuinely strange questions. What if the Earth did not stop instantly? What if it just slowed, gradually, over millions of years, until one day it stopped completely? This is actually not science fiction. This is what is already happening. The moon's gravitational pull is slowly, steadily applying a brake to the Earth's rotation. Right now, Earth's days are getting longer by about 1.4 milliseconds every 100 years. That sounds insignificant. But for billion years ago, a day on Earth was only about 6 hours long. The Earth used to spin 4 times faster than it does today. The moon has been stealing that spin this entire time. Eventually, in the very far future, the Earth will become tidally locked with the moon. The same way the moon is already tidally locked with us. The moon always shows us the same face because its rotation and its orbit are perfectly synchronized. Earth, billions of years from now, could end up in the same situation. One side permanently facing the moon. One side permanently facing away. What does that world look like? One side of the planet facing the sun, forever scorching. Airless. Baked. Think of the Sahara. But turned up to a setting that would make the Sahara look like a ski resort. Rock that glows red hot at the surface. Silicate glass formed from sand melted by perpetual heat. No liquid water. No breathable air. The other side, permanently facing away, a frozen wasteland locked in an eternal night. Temperatures dropping to negative 200 degrees Celsius or lower. Any remaining atmosphere would freeze and fall out of the sky as snow. Cold snow. Nitrogen snow. The air itself, frozen solid on the ground. But between these two extremes, along the thin ring where day meets night, the Terminator line that would circle the entire planet, there might be something unexpected. A narrow band of survivable conditions. Temperatures regulated by the constant balance of heat flow between the burning side and the frozen side. Wind moving in predictable patterns from the hot side to the cold. Carrying moisture. Potentially sustaining a narrow corridor of life. A ribbon of habitability wrapped around a dead planet. Scientists have actually modeled this for exoplanets, worlds outside our solar system that are tidally locked with their stars. And the models suggest that life in that narrow band is not impossible. Strange. Yes. Unrecognizable. Probably. But not impossible. If any life survived on a tidally locked Earth, it would live in permanent twilight. On a world without seasons. Without nights. Without the cycle of darkness and dawn that every living thing on this planet has evolved around. For billions of years. It would be an entirely different story of life. Written in a completely different language. Let us bring this back to right now. You're still moving at 1,000 miles per hour. You have been your entire life. Every sunrise you have ever watched has been the Earth rotating into the light, not the sun rising. Every sunset has been the Earth spinning away from it. Every night sky is a window that keeps changing as the planet underneath you turns. The spin is not a background detail. It is the engine. It runs the winds, the ocean currents, the Coriolis effect that shapes every weather system on the planet. It drives the core convection that powers the magnetic field. It dictates the length of the day, the rhythm of life, the architecture of every ecosystem that has ever existed on this world. Stop the engine, and everything built around it falls apart. Fast or slow, sudden or gradual, the outcome is the same. A planet stripped of the things that made it alive. The Earth has been spinning since it formed, knocked into rotation by the same collision that created the moon. Over 4.5 billion years ago, that spin has been winding down ever since. Slowly, imperceptibly, but consistently. We are living on borrowed time in the most literal sense. The machine has been running down from the moment it started. Every day is one more rotation than the planet will have a billion years from now. So the next time you feel like nothing is happening, like the world is standing still, like everything is quiet and ordinary and unremarkable, remember that you are actually on a rock hurtling through the void at speeds that no human mind was built to process, wrapped in a thin film of gas, protected by an invisible magnetic bubble generated by liquid iron spinning in the dark miles beneath your feet. And the only reason you are alive is because all of it, every single moving part, is working exactly as it should. For now, if you watched till the kind, please subscribe, like and share for more update on things you don't know and need.